Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as she travels the Vortex and arrive at episode number 406, where we must beware the Death Eye Turtle Army. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Good.
Obscure. I like it.
Did you guys have a good week?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Mine was busy. Had elections on Tuesday. Was that last week?
That was last week.
Yeah, election on Tuesday.
Free at last. Free at last.
Election night Tuesday, and now I'm free of that. So I was just
The commercials are over. We are free at last.
It was a hectic night because if you're a new listener, I work in news, TV news. So we were there late on Tuesday night, but yeah, it went well. And this weekend, I was so busy. Mason had volleyball. Caitlin had her play. She's in Radium Girls. Well, she was in Radium Girls at Topeka West High.
Did she get kicked out?
No. Topeka West High had their play, and it was Radium Girls, and they all did a really good job. We really enjoyed that. And I did watch something this week. Oh, I watched Christopher Robin.
What'd you think?
It was a good movie. It's really,
good?
really cute. I enjoyed it.
Like, it just kind of goes along, and then Pooh talks, and it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, it does. And well, the one thing that I think I took away from it is if I had believed really hard when I was a kid, my stuffed animals would be talking now. But
you just didn't have
believe
enough
hard
belief.
enough, I guess.
You didn't clap your hands?
It was good. You
didn't have Toy Story to help keep it alive.
That's right. It's cute. I really enjoyed it, and I think all the characters were spot on. I love Ewan McGregor. He did such a great job. The story's cute and a lot of fun. So.
And Mark Gatiss.
Mark Gatiss, yeah. I forgot. Yeah, Doctor Who connection.
Well, Peter Capaldi was Rabbit, wasn't he?
Oh, was he?
Yes, he was. I think you're right.
I didn't recognize his voice.
I didn't either. But I think you're right. I think I remember hearing that.
Very cool.
I still need to see that one.
I finished The Light Fantastic, which is the second Discworld book. So, and discovered that there is I don't know who did it. It's clearly British, but there is on Amazon Prime in 2008 they made a little limited TV thing from the first two books because I had forgotten. Been so long since I'd read the first book. The
Color Magic.
It drops off and picks back up right in Life Fantastic. So I guess there's a 4-episode or maybe 3-episode. It's called The Color Magic, and so I watched the first episode of it. And it's got Tim Curry as the bad guy. I can't remember the wizard's name. It's got Sean Astin as Two Flower, the tourist, and the guy that's playing Rincewind I don't recognize, but it's taking me a long time to get used because that's the guy that's playing him. His mannerisms and look are different than I had imagined when I read the book. But I thought Sean Astin would be the same way when I realized he was playing Two Flower. But I love the way he plays Two Flower in this show. So, did you guys do anything?
We watched Ocean's 8. It was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It was kind of there. It didn't have the same pizzazz that the other Ocean's films did. I don't know. There was just something missing. I'm not sure what. That's pretty much all we did.
We've knocked out Rocky 3, continuing our rewatch of them.
I see what you did there.
Oh, yeah.
Inadvertently.
Pun unintended.
Once again, I find myself pretty amazed. Apparently, I've seen clips of it. I've never actually sat down and watched Rocky 3. This is the first one I feel like that probably sets the template for the rest of them because the first two are fairly serious films, or at least trying to be. And then Hulk Hogan shows up. And I laughed for like 5 solid minutes, and Mel looked at me, he's like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, I would have remembered this if I had seen this movie. Yeah, that was bad. We did a film fest this weekend. We're waiting on results. It's uploaded. You can't watch it yet. It's still secret. It's still secret.
Do you think it went well?
The part that I was involved with, yes. I think the pitch session and the screenwriting went pretty well.
That's good.
I understand the rest of it went fairly okay as well. And this is the one that we won last year with the team from Berkeley.
This is the Film Festival.
The 4 Points
The
Film
one
Fest.
last
Oh,
year,
the
yes.
one that wound up going to Cannes. And,
Not the movie that won last year.
Right. You're not resubmitting the same movie.
Yeah.
That's different. No, we won this film fest last year with a different film. And so we kind of felt like, well, great. Now we have to step up our game and prove ourselves to try and do 2 in a row.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen a rough cut of it. It looks good. All right. Well, shall we move on to news?
Let's. So there's going to be a new Doctor Who exhibition planned in Cardiff. Obviously, this is the same location.
Let's back up on that because I read this article. There is a plan to have an exhibition.
Okay.
They haven't planned it yet. There is a
a
plan
new
to have
exhibition
one.
is being planned.
Yes, there you
There
go.
you go. How about that?
Yes.
In Cardiff by BBC Studios in association with Cardiff Council. This time it would be in Cardiff Castle, which is in the very center of the city. There's no other details other than that.
do we know how big Cardiff Castle is?
Again, that article really makes it sound like this is like rudimentary right now, and there's not a lot going on.
Due to be operational next summer.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Well, they have everything. All I got to do
Yeah,
is
just
transport it
all
over,
they do
set it up.
Take it over and set it up. Do maybe some refurbishment on the castle. This doesn't sound like it'll be the immersive experience either. This
No, I don't
seems
think
like
so
it'll be
either.
more of just an exhibit. But
Yeah.
I think Cardiff is missing its Doctor Who revenue, tourism revenue, which is great. It's
They
great
want
for
their
the
movie
show.
check.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great for the show. It's great for the series. It's great for people that didn't get to do the experience. So
It's great for Peter Capaldi because now he has a place to hang out since he's not working.
Oh, he's working. He was in Christopher Robin.
Not as hard. He can sit down to do that job.
That's true.
they've got a security guard position for him. So. What else we got in the news?
Our other bit of news is Big Finish announced another piece of their Legacy of Time box set that's coming out to celebrate their 20th anniversary. It's going to be the Fifth Doctor, of course played by Peter Davison, meeting Jenny, played by Georgia Tennant.
Which is very cool.
It's
It
a
is
little
very
family Inception stuff going on there.
Does she go by Georgia Tennant now?
That's what this article says.
Okay. Because I know that for a long time, even after they were, even when I think after they were first married, I think she
went
was
by
still going
Moffat
by
still.
Moffat, but that's because that was her stage and film name.
Yeah, Big Finish says Georgia Tennant. So
I don't want to poo-poo this, but I can't help but wonder if the Big Finish guys are just, if there's a big room and they've got all the wiki stuff up on the walls, there's just nothing but note cards with Doctor Who characters and plots and monsters, and they're throwing darts and seeing what comes up that, we haven't done that yet. It almost
I don't
feels
want
like that.
I don't want to besmirch them because I think that they've done some incredible stuff and they always do some great storytelling, but it almost feels like we're at a possible jump the shark era of Big Finish, where, as you said, we're throwing
I'm putting every single possible
we're
combination we
throwing
can think of.
something at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then saying what. Which I guess after you've done 20 years of Doctor Who, and Big Finish has always been and never been shy about admitting that they are, a 50% fan service. I mean, they do these gimmicky kind of things, and they always seem to pull them off and make it work. But I just always have that air of. I mean, I guess. There's a lot of original material there, but when you're utilizing characters and monsters that are already in your coffers, I suppose you do what you can.
And you can also give it a little bit of forgiveness because it's a big anniversary special.
Well, that's certainly true
Yeah.
too, but it seems like I guess this whole year's been kind of their 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Because they've got that new, it came out a couple of months ago with, I can't remember the name of it, but it's got the Seventh Doctor and, the guy that was the mobster guy from the,
Glitz.
the Penguin. What's his name?
Frobisher.
Frobisher. From Frobisher's early comics, and I think he was in the one of the crossovers or one of the Big Finish that they did with Frobisher. I can't remember his name. Dog something. Anyway, so they just released that, which I was ecstatic. In fact, I bought that because I want to listen to it because that was that's kind of an era that I really like. But it just kind of has this air of maybe they're kind of
Just a tad too much.
seeing
maybe.
what we're doing.
But in Big Finish's defense, if I was in charge of Big Finish, and I had Tom Baker, I'd be like, "No, you don't get a break. I will bring you a coffee and a sandwich, and you're going to sit here and record Doctor Who."
And we're going to give you every possible companion I can think of.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, you work,
you
mister.
You don't want to run him off.
I want more.
It took them so long to get him to come on board that they're probably, kid gloves still. Gloves.
Yeah. I'm sure they're treating him well. I'm sure his cell is padded and has a very nice armchair and maybe a television for those 5-minute breaks in between recording sessions.
No, it certainly is exciting news, especially that they get to work together, father and daughter. So
yeah, kind of neat.
Looking forward to that one.
It's going to be a box set of a whole bunch of odd combinations anyway.
No matter what I say, I'm still going to be looking forward to it.
And you're still going to enjoy it when you listen to it.
That's exactly right. And it's, that's another thing, is Big Finish does not have a new TV audience to appease. They are appeasing the fans because that's who come to Big Finish and listen to it. So you know what? They can do what they want.
Well,
Absolutely.
And when you're pairing new series stuff with classic series stuff, you're more likely to get the new fans into the classic series this way.
That's true.
There's a higher potential. Yeah.
It's also one other bridge to, bring these two.
That's just what I said.
Just what I said.
Oh, you were talking the fans.
Oh, you mean the actual bridge?
An actual bridge.
There's a bridge right there.
For those
it's called the movie.
Yes, you and I know that as old Who fans because we've embraced all of it. But for the new Who, and I'm using the air quotes, they sometimes forget that season 1 is not Eccleston and that you have to actually go back more. So this is all of a sudden, look, this is all here.
Yeah.
And it strengthens that bond that this is all one show.
The unity.
Even though we've devolved to calling it New Who and Old Who.
Classic Who.
Classic
Old
Who.
Call it New Who either. Well, if you do call it New Who, don't spell it N-U.
Sean.
I'm looking at you, Sean.
It's because it's not New Who, it's New Who.
Anything else in the news?
That's it.
All right.
Now we can get a chocolate New Who. Do they have those in England? Is New Who an English thing? It's probably not. Way too much sugar in it for it to be.
Yeah, it's probably too sugary.
It's very, very much an American thing.
Why'd you look like that?
I was trying to think.
I thought you were deciding that we were being disparaging to the Brits because it was too sugary, but it's true. Our stuff is very sugary.
If there would be, I was trying to think, what could I Google to find out if Yoo-Hoo was sold in the UK?
Go Google, is Yoo-Hoo sold in the UK?
Yeah, but it's called UK, Y-O-O-K-Y.
I went to the UK to get a chocolate Yoo-Hoo for New Who.
All right, well, let's move on to feedback.
Our feedback comes from Holly.
Holly writes, Demons of Punjab. Hey guys, really loved the backstory that we got about Yaz's family and the mini history lesson as well. The aliens were interesting this episode and why they came to that spot in time that they did. The scenes between Graham and Yaz were great. I'll say it again, the interactions between the companions have been hitting the right marks for me. Finding out the real story behind why Yaz's nanny came to Sheffield and the broken watch makes the opening of the story that much better, and the conversation between Yaz and Nani at the end was a fitting touch as well. Not much more to say. I will wrap it up here. Holly from Wisconsin.
Thank you, Holly.
Thanks,
Holly.
Did we mention the November book of the month for the Traveling Vortex Book Club on Goodreads?
I don't believe we did.
So.
Do you know what it is there,
I'm
Keith?
trying to pull it up right now.
I do. I haven't looked recently, so.
I know the poll for December's up.
Oh, that's right, yeah. There's some Christmas fare on there.
Yeah.
We still need to decide what we're doing for our Christmas special. That's coming up.
The November book is The Women Who Lived.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, I should have known. I just bought it last week because of that. My memory is so bad. My memory is so bad. I just looked there and went, oh, I need that book, and I bought it. All right. Well, there you go. So if you're,
why do we trust you with anything?
I don't know why. That's why you guys do all the heavy lifting, and I just edit.
That's some pretty heavy lifting there, Glenn.
Yeah, well, that's different, though. I mean, if I remember to sit down and do it, then we're in good shape. So
I think we really kind of defer to you when it comes up. What was the name of that episode that had that thing with that guy and that one? And you go, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but it's
that's all the stuff you remember.
It's that little crap that I remember. It's this stuff it's the important stuff I can't remember.
Where did I park my car?
Exactly.
Where is this car?
Where did I park my car? Oh, it's in the parking or the driveway.
It's outside.
Keith, how can people contact us if they want to send feedback?
You can send it directly to feedback@drivingthevortex.com, or if you're on Facebook and see one of our posts, click on through and there should be a send us an email tab up there. Or you can go to our website, travelingthevortex.com, and click out fill out the send us feedback section.
Surprised I remember to come here every Monday. All right,
It is pretty impressive. There was the 1 week you almost did.
There was the 1 week I did forget.
I wonder where Glenn's at.
He sure is late. Oops.
All right, should we move on to our review?
Yes.
Yes. Demons of the Punjab. What's the point in having a mate with a time machine if you can't nip back and see your gran when she was younger? India, 1947. The doctor and her friends arrive in the Punjab as the country is being torn apart. While Yaz attempts to discover her grandmother's hidden history, the doctor discovers demons haunting the land. Who are they, and what do they want?
I quite enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Sean, why don't you start this week? No, Keith, you start this week.
Yeah, Keith, you start this
I really
week.
like this one.
Keith,
too.
you start this week.
He really liked this one. Weren't you listening?
I like the fact that it was, for the most part, okay, let me start over.
You were going to use the H word, weren't you?
I was. It was nearly a historical. It was a partial historical. No, I like the period that it was set in. I like the history of the episode and how the aliens in it weren't the actual threats. I really like that aspect of it. And the fact that yet again this season, hatred is the enemy more than anything else. I wonder if it's becoming a theme.
Hatred, fear, and bigotry.
Yeah. Yes, and I don't think it's because of a female doctor either. I think it's because of the times we're in that any showrunner would start telling these stories.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think a lot of people would jump to the conclusion of, oh, well, they're being so PC, blah, 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 because it's now a female doctor, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that's the case at one bit. I love the exploration of Yaz's family and her grandma's backstory. And I was on the edge of my seat trying to figure out what was going to happen, knowing that that wasn't her grandpa and where the actual grandpa was going to fit in. And just
what a terrific device to set it up that way. We're going to go back, find out more about her family. She shows up and things just aren't the way she understands them, and I thought that was interesting.
And not because of the aliens.
Yeah, not because of an outside influence that's messing with the timeline. It's because she just doesn't know, or her grandmother has never told her this.
And why would she want to talk about the husband she had for only a couple of hours? I mean, it was such a heartbreaking ending, but so bittersweet too to see Yaz and her grandma at the end talking and offering to tell the story, and Yaz being like, no, I'm okay.
Yes, to all of that. I was like you. I was excited over the idea of and then the alien showed up. So it's not doing that. It's a period piece, but it is a slice of history that I'm ashamed to admit. Once again, I don't know anything about.
Me neither.
I knew it was a thing, but that's kind of the extent of. And once again, I now know a little bit more about history thanks to Doctor Who. I'm sure my book report on the OK Corral will go gangbusters.
No, it won't.
All I did was write down lyrics to the saloon. Yeah, it's we've kind of been clamoring for Yaz, that I feel like we've kind of developed Ryan and Graham a bit more, maybe, than her. And she's been there, but she hasn't really gotten that big moment yet. So this was okay. This is the Yaz
I mean,
episode.
we got
Great.
Anacrids. The spider episode. Arachnids in the UK got to develop her quite a bit more than the other two.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
I think the difference is.
I think I blocked that one because there were spiders.
I think the difference is with Ryan and Graham, it's easy to continue to develop them together
because they're interconnected.
Because they're interconnected and they're traveling together. You don't have to have something back home to help develop the character. You can continue with them. And Yaz, you don't have that. So you kind of need what's going on in her family to kind of help develop.
Well, I don't know if I totally
It's an
agree
easier
with
jumping
that.
off point.
It is easier.
It's an easier jumping off
I
point.
agree with you, Keith.
Just because they're there, but I mean, they maybe just because as of yet we haven't gotten the stories that you would think that we would get with Yaz. I mean, she's a policewoman. We could do there's a whole ripe material for that they haven't touched yet. The whatever relationship between her and Ryan, which I'm kind of glad they haven't touched on yet, but potentially it's there. You know, there are opportunities, but no, I enjoyed the setting. I will say this for the new season: they are really either blowing a lot of money on location shooting or being very clever with how they're blowing their money on vacation shooting, because it feels like we've had just some outstanding settings and a
the
lot of
cinematography
globetrotting.
of it also is just phenomenal. The
Yeah.
highlights wherever you're at so well.
It's been really gorgeous. And I think we've only had one rock quarry, so that was in the first one, so that was kind of a rock quarry and a construction site. But this one, I really enjoyed it. I really appreciated it, and I had to sit and think about it for a while, because when it ended, once again I was kind of left with that I'm not sure where I stand on it, and I think this one kind of crystallized it for me, because so far in my mind this has been the strongest episode of the season so far. And in my mind, I think that what I'm coming down on is that, as you mentioned, with I didn't want to say PC, but with the direction that we're taking with the storytelling, kind of being a little more overt in our political messages about just don't be a jerk, I mean, the Doctor's kind of always had that, but now we're really hitting you over the head with that. And at first, I wasn't sure that I was okay with that, because it's not really what we're used to. They've been creeping it in there, as the show's gone on.
They're being less subtle about it this season.
It's very much less subtle. And I think Doctor Who is maybe evolving into the show it should have been from the beginning. If that's kind of a weird way to put it, but when you have a character like the Doctor, and we've made excuses, or maybe not excuses, but we've made exceptions for some of the things that went on in the show in the 60s and the 70s with sexism or racism or whatever, because of the times in which it was created. And in a way, this almost feels like they're trying to say, well, this is where we should have been at to begin with, and we recognize that now. And I can see why some people are not okay with that. You talked about the people going, oh, it's so PC now, because it's not the show they started off with. It really feels a little different. But I think I'm okay with that. I think I like the direction. This, as I've been saying, that I want Jodie Whittaker to finally be given something to do. This kind of feels like maybe they've gotten settled in, and this is where we're going to go with it. Okay, cool. Now, this is also, I think, the first one that's completely not written by Chibnall.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with my dissatisfaction is on his shoulders as opposed to anywhere else. But
Did you think the Doctor had plenty to do in this one?
well,
She got to do some awesome science.
she did get to do some awesome science, which was great. And she got a couple of great heroic moments. I really think we're relying on the Sonic too much. And
That's ever since the series came back. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's you can use that complaint about every season with every Doctor, with every, well, probably not 6. But, yeah, for the most part. I mean, it was Yaz's story, so it was appropriate for everybody else to kind of take a back seat for that reason. And once the alien threat was revealed to not be an alien threat, the doctor could step back and just kind of be, okay, as long as you don't touch the baby, Rose, we'll be okay.
And Yaz listened.
No, she did. Kind of.
Enough.
Too nice. Just too nice. This is what you get.
I've always liked the social commentary. I think it's okay. I think that there's always that treading the ground of being too heavy-handed and going too far, and I don't think they've done that this season. I think there's been a few instances in the past where they've gotten heavy-handed with it, but not this season at all. I think it's all been balanced really well. It's really, really good storytelling. It's impactful. It's emotional. It's exciting. There's action. There's comedy. Every episode this season for me has hit all of those points, and I think it continues to do that. I continue to I love this crew. I love this TARDIS crew. I love their relationship. I love how laid back and how they've just gelled from the beginning. How they really feel like a team, more so than probably any team that has traveled with the Doctor in the past. These guys feel like they just work together really well. They really feel like, and I think it's hit on early on when she talks about them as not being companions but being her friends. And that's what this whole series has felt like, that it's a group of friends.
Yeah.
And so it's a different dynamic for a relationship with the Doctor that I think is really kind of cool that they're exploring this. We've always had friendships in the past. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. It's working so well and it's gelling so well this time.
It's usually not a group of friends. It's the Doctor and his best friend, like when he was with Sarah, exactly.
Or Amy Pond.
Yeah, it's never been. Here's my gang,
right?
This well.
Well, and it also, at least within the confines of Chocolate Knew Who, we had companions that were very romantically interested in the Doctor. We've had companions that idolized the Doctor. We've had companions that, they've never really just been on even footing with him. Which is, the show's designed for that. But we've had, student-teacher relationships. We've had, savages and romantic. We've had, far future, and we've had antagonistic. We've kind of done that. And this really, this feels like the first time that we've just had some genuine, they enjoy their time with the Doctor, but they don't need her.
Yeah.
As opposed to previous companions that I don't know what I would do without you. You're the most magical, wonderful person. And in a way, I'm kind of glad that we've gotten away from that, because don't get me wrong, I'm right there hero worshiping with the best of them, going, yeah, this is cool. But this is the first group that, because even with Amy and Rory, as close as the Doctor and Amy were, and you really felt that, there was those romance overtones initially, and then there was the jealousy overtones once Rory came in. And then the three of them had this very cool dynamic, but he was still much, much, much more closer to Amy than he was Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like your buddy gets married, but you're still friends with with your buddy versus and it's just that kind of stuff. So this is the first group that really feels like they're just very, very well balanced. And because Ryan and Graham have their kind of weird oddball relationship thing, you would think that they would butt heads more, but they don't, because they are family. And then Ryan and Yasmin are the same age, so they've got that connection going on. And Graham, being older, in a way, kind of relates better to the Doctor, even though they're not on the same plane. But she's, I don't want to say immature enough, but just laid back enough about it that, she's not reminding them every 4 episodes that I'm a Time Lord and I walk in eternity like Tom would. So... It's just working. It really is clicking.
And I really liked having Yaz and Graham paired up during this episode. It was a pairing we hadn't really seen too much of, and I really enjoyed watching them together.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I enjoyed then Yaz going off with the Doctor to go do their thing, and then the guys going off doing their thing.
It's kind of nice to have Graham be a character that can, be a buddy and a friend, and be fun and funny, but also take kind of a parental position as well at certain times, especially when he's having more of that patronly discussion with Yaz, and because he's had some experience before, and explaining to her, making her able to look at something from a different way. I kind of like that he's this really versatile character, and I think that's what I like a lot of.
Really shaping up to be the heart and the humor of the team.
I agree.
He's very Ian Chesterton.
Yeah,
that's funny. I was just about to say that.
Really?
Just about to say that. Yeah.
I know there was some rumors initially that he was somehow going to wind up being the son of Ian and Barbara at some point. Which again, I'd have been all right with that too. But he's got that same kind of parental, teacher, friend, all not quite action hero, but other than that, all the stuff that Ian brought to the table, I feel like Graham brings to the table too.
I think we'd be remiss to point out that you were talking about the social commentary and how there's a lot of it this year, and I agree with you. But let's also not forget our history of the Third Doctor was very heavy.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
Social commentary, tackling colonialism, tackling environmentalism. So this isn't new territory for
No,
you.
it isn't.
But I think we recognize it because, number one, we're living in these times, and so we're a little more connected to that. And number two, I think the social commentary in the Third Doctor era was very much subject to the region, to the UK.
Yes.
And I think this is more of a broad world view of social commentary. So I think that's why it's a little more noticeable to us now as well.
And I think they were still trying to mask it with metaphor in the Third Doctor's era a little bit more than they are currently.
Yeah, that's right.
Where it's straight out obvious that racism was the enemy in Rosa.
The Green Death pretty much
The Green
pegs
Death is
environmentalism,
yeah.
but I think the Mutants, which I think is the commentary on colonialism, as
Right.
well as
like Happiness Patrol later.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that they are a little more overt because they take the situation and they place it in another scenario.
That's
Right.
just it.
Familiar.
You look at the previous examples of it, and it's very Star Trek. It's a social commentary, but it's got a coat of sci-fi paint on it.
Right.
Because
Right.
we're on another planet. We're dealing with another race. We're dealing
It's
with
it's one of the I've always viewed the Third Doctor social commentary as it's there if you want to look at it, but you don't have to see it. This you cannot look at it without seeing it.
That's certainly true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll freely admit, too, that, this may be because we're Americans.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have without getting into a political discussion, we have a problem in this country right now. We are very divided as a people.
Well,
And to watch an episode
it's
that's
worse
really
here, but it's
Yeah.
happening everywhere.
Yeah.
It's happening in the UK as well.
But I think it feels more. I mean, I'm sure if the UK is going to, obviously the UK owns Doctor Who, they're producing the show, they're paying for it, and they are dealing with a slice of their history because it was the England dissolving the empire status that carved up India into these different states. So, I mean, it's very much an issue that, yes, it's appropriate for them to tackle. I'm not saying that they're coddling to us or catering to us, but maybe that is coloring our perceptions a little bit, that we're so dealing with it right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe that's why it feels more social commentary.
And to some extent, too, we're becoming much more of a global society. So a lot of our political issues are going to bleed over to the UK and vice versa.
Yeah.
Very true.
Would agree.
So I initially said that I like the fact that the aliens weren't evil and, weren't... I'm kind of torn on it the more I think about it, though. Because, for the most part, they didn't even need to be there. They could have told the story without having those aliens.
Well, I think, though, yes, they could have, but would it have been as exciting a story? Would they have been able to build the mystery that they did?
They would have had to obviously do something different.
They put the sci-fi paint on it, is what they do.
They
and I think you have to do that because I think they lend to this story the Doctor Who element. Because I think if the aliens hadn't been there, I think what happens then is it becomes more of a...
The Doctor would be less likely to stick around.
Well, yeah, and it becomes more of a BBC drama. You know what I mean? You've got to put the Doctor in her element, and I think that's what they do here, and it makes
I
it
just
very
find it
Doctor
interesting
Who.
that other than that slap of paint, they didn't really contribute too much to the... If you step back and look at the overall plot of the episode, they don't really add that much to it.
Well, except for no, you're right. But I guess my point is that you can't have I don't think this could have been a Doctor Who episode without it, and I think that that's what that splash of paint there is for, because we have to go into it perceiving, and the Doctor goes into it perceiving that there's an outside threat here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they do is they give us the impression that there's an outside threat, and then ultimately we are relieved, or maybe not so much relieved, to learn that they are not the threat. That there's more of a terrestrial struggle here that is the problem. And I think that's what I like about this, is that they're able to kind of misdirect us with that. They go down that tropish area of how we expect our Doctor Who to happen, and then they pull that out and say, no, that's not what's going on here. And I think that misdirection, I think, is what another element of this that makes this story so good. So once you take that away,
you lose something.
Then it's colonialism in Pakistan and the dividing of the borders that were set up, and then it's
the
just
mystery
you could have told
the grandpa.
But you could have told me that in any run of the mill BBC period story.
Right.
I mean, so then it's not Doctor Who. So I think you have to have that element in order to give it purpose for the Doctor to be there, purpose for the reason for. I think that the story wouldn't be as successful, especially with fans, had they not given us a little bit of that element.
Well, and so the other side of that coin is, I love the exploration of this assassin species who come back and their planet's gone, and they don't get vengeful.
I like that too.
And the social commentary within that helps lend to the social commentary within the rest of the episode too. So while I'm torn on it,
if these
I
aliens
wind up
can
on
forgive, why can't
exactly
simple to humans?
Yeah, so I wind up more on the I like it because of those things more than the were they really necessary?
It's a little bit of Thane from Mass Effect. I don't think you guys have played that one, but he's an assassin who finds other reasons to keep going.
Spoiler.
That's pretty much in his character bio. Now, the aliens in this, I will say too that I like the character design of them. When they initially showed up, I was like, oh, Sycorax. Oh wait, no, these are different.
Well, from far away, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh gosh, they're reusing a design. It wasn't until we got a closer look at them I was like, oh no, that's a much more detailed and intricate than I thought they would be,
and way cooler looking than the Sycorax. So there's that, but realistically, I kind of side with Keith. These aliens serve three purposes structurally to the plot. Purpose one, we have to have some sort of outside influence for the Doctor to stick around. Because she already feels like she's breaking a rule by coming and visiting relatives. And it's the wedding day. And it's you're not the grandpa. Okay, let's go. She is ready to call, game called due to rain. Oh, but there's aliens. Okay, well, now we kind of have to investigate. So it's the kind of linchpin for keeping the group there. Agreed. And not having the Doctor put her foot down.
Yeah.
The second function they serve is the MacGuffin of filling the Doctor in on what actually happened. That it's through the aliens that she's able to find out that, it's the brother who offed the guy, the Holy Man.
The Holy Man.
And so, I mean, you could have worked that into the script without them, but it is the other purpose that they serve. But then, as Glenn pointed out, the third purpose is it's Doctor Who. We have to have a monster. We have to have a scary,
even if it's seemingly.
Yeah. We have to have a threat. So.
No, I think
it'll be nice to get back to proper villains.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. That it first and foremost, it serves to the plot to keep the Doctor around, to give her a reason to stay. Yeah. Because you're right, for
the same reason you get rid of the TARDIS.
By any rights and means, she should have said, "Yes, I'm afraid this is how it happens. We've got to go. Your hour is up." But it does. It serves the plot to give her more reason to stick around there because something's afoot that only she can take care of.
Yeah.
I felt we get to the wedding ceremony and the exchange afterwards, and he gives her the watch, and I was like, okay, cool. And it's kind of built up as, this is the moment, and then she drops it, or he drops it, whoever drops it, they drop it, and it shatters, and there was this, what? That's it? I mean, I felt robbed. I felt cheated of there was supposed to be a great story to this. There was supposed to be some tragic, Yeah, why? And then she says, "This is the exact moment. This is our time."
Yeah, that
and I
fixed
went,
it for me too. That fixed it for me too, because I in my head envisioned, oh well, he's going to get into some sort of fight and scuffle, or this is going to happen when he's if he's killed, and I kept going through my head, and then it didn't
so
happen.
beautiful that it happened that way, and I was like, "You put that away." That's awesome.
It's a good story. I think it's one of the best of the season, and I haven't had one that I haven't liked. So
yeah, I think so far this season has been phenomenal. There has not been, I don't think, a clunker so far. And even the parts that I have issues with, I am enjoying watching these 4 characters together so much that I can excuse a lot more stuff, I think.
This one made me... I liked this one so much, it made me think, maybe I'll when I go back for the rewatch and go back and revisit these, except for the spiders one, that maybe I'll be able to pull something else out of it now that I've hit this point. I really kind of I hope that this was the hump, that this was now that I feel like I'm over the hump, that I'm okay with it. And even the moment where they were kind of off in the guys over here doing the bachelor party thing, and the gals are all in the tent hanging out, and there's just Yaz and to be grandma are having this moment, but they're all kind of, they're not playing it up. They're not having an actual bachelorette party the way Amy would have had one, but they're just right. You can tell they're just having fun, and the doctor's sitting cross-legged behind them with her boots off. And she's got it's just toes in the sand and just kind of there, and it's very childlike and very innocent. And it was the first time that I didn't mind that her pants were so short, because it felt natural in that moment. Scene, yeah. And it was like, okay, maybe you're.
Oh, they're growing on you.
They're slowly wearing me down on this one.
By the time he gets used to this outfit, she'll change.
Yep.
And then I'll celebrate.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we got coming up on the schedule.
Keith, do we have an episode title for next week's episode?
Kerblam.
Oh, what?
It's really called Kerblam.
It's called Kerblam.
That's awesome. Kerblam.
Kerblam.
Well, we will be discussing in depth Kerblam next week.
For the next time trailer, it seemed really quirky and kind of maybe on the edge of fun. Just kind of,
Yeah.
And by that, I don't mean like a funny episode, but just it's kind of splashy and colorful, and it looks like it's going to be fun. So.
Yeah.
Kablam. Now I think based on the name, it's going to be fun. Kablam.
Well, we will be covering that next week, and you will enjoy it, or else.
Ooh.
Or else we'll take you to Big Finish and we'll lock you in a room with Tom Baker, and you'll have to work for a living.
All right, don't forget you can find us on TuneIn. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Google Play Store and Stitcher and many other podcast aggregators. And if you want to send us money, you can do that through Patreon. Every donation that's made through Patreon goes right back into the show, and we want to thank you for those who are already supporting us. All of your hard-earned money is going into this product, and we appreciate it, and we continue to make it better. Anything else we need to discuss this week before we close this show? All right, if it's going to do it for this week. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you. Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.